I think I've done 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Yes.
Okay. 2016 through 2022, you're engaged as a consultant psychiatrist for the Elson Student Health Center. What is that?
That's a student health center at the University of Virginia. So that serves students who are at the university.
And like what? I mean, do you evaluate them? Do you treat them? Do you analyze them? What do you do for college students?
Oh, sorry, I've got it on
My
way
work
too fast.
with the university and the health center really had to do with students who were having difficulty and had left the university and were interested in getting back. And so I was part of a 3-person panel to evaluate the students to see whether or not it would be appropriate to bring them back to the university.
And what, were they like thrown out of the university, or they were disciplined or something? Why would you bring them back? What does that mean?
Well, if there was an event that caused concern, potentially
I am going to go a little bit faster.
with a threat,
a little bit,
for example, then just for the student safety and the safety of all, they would
zoom a little.
leave the university in order to get the type of care that they needed. And then if they wanted to come back, then I was part of a panel that would evaluate these students and make a determination about whether it was safe.
So these are students. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's all right.
Okay, these are students, right?
Correct.
In college, right?
That's right.
That have been thrown out or disciplined or suspended or something, and they're trying to get back into school, right?
That's right.
And when the parents of the students come, they retain you to advocate on their behalf?
No.
No, you work for the school, right?
Correct.
You evaluate them and then back the school up so that these kids can't get back into the school, right?
Dude, that's not the way it works. That's a pretty big accusation. No, he's employed to see and evaluate if they can properly go back into that system.
Can you ask that question again?
No, that's all right. 1999 through the present, you work for the United States Department of Justice, the United States Department of State, right?
Snarky.
Yes.
Okay. And that would be the United States Attorney's Office, the prosecutors. Like they're the state prosecutors, you got federal prosecutors, right?
Well, federal prosecutors and defenders. I've worked with both.
Well, the defenders certainly don't work for the United States Department of Justice or the United States Department of State, do they?
I was under the impression that federal public defenders were under the umbrella of the Department of Justice.
No, that's called the
In my opinion, professionally, personally, I think this is one of the best witnesses so far. I know there's been a couple other ones that have made some really good points for the prosecution side that she was cognizant of her actions, but I think this guy has been the best so far. So I can see why they would put him on last.
JAC, that would be a totally different group of people. Those are people that defend people to try to have them not be abused by the system, if you will.
That question was
2015, you're a psychiatric consultant for the Virginia Office of the Attorney General.
They just said that this guy doesn't defend people to be abused, to not be abused by the system. Wow. Okie doke. Coming out swinging today. Coming out swinging.
Another prosecuting arm, right?
Yes.
2013, Virginia Department of Corrections, the Virginia Department of Corrections, least restrictive measures for segregation. You evaluate people to determine if they should be in max or disciplinary unit as opposed to general population. Is that what you do?
Yes, I've been asked to do that.
Okay. And you certainly don't advocate on behalf of the prisoners that are being placed in seg or being placed in those closed units with higher security, right?
No, that's not true at all.
Red is above his head, in and of his head. That's such an insulting thing to say. You don't advocate for them. Yeah, no, that's not how it works, Red. You can't just, it's not.
The National Security Expert 2007 to the present, Oak Ridge United Associated Universities. What is that?
Yes, that is a group that does research with the Behavioral Analysis Unit in the National Center for Analysis of Violent Crime, and I have done work with them. Okay.
Critical Incident Analysis Group, CIAG, University of Virginia.
Yes.
Okay. Behavioral Analysis Unit, as you told us yesterday, for the FBI at Quantico, right?
This is all working against him.
Psychiatric consultant to the Virginia Department.
All he's going to say after all of this is, "How many women have you seen in postpartum psychosis?" Then that's not strong enough.
Medium, maximum, and supermax facilities.
This just shows all of his expertise in being able to properly evaluate people in different situations. So I don't think he realizes that this is not as strong of a point as he thinks it is.
Continuing on with your experience, sir, as a witness in this case, you agree with me that you were involved as a psychiatric consultant with the Macro Task Force on-site consultation for the Australian Police Service.
Yes.
Interesting.
Former Soviet Union project, Republic of Georgia.
Oh, wow.
TBILISI, Georgia. You're involved with that, sir?
Belisi.
Belisi, yeah.
This is a very diverse resume, if you will. So this just, to me, adds to his credibility.
Critical Incident Response Group for the U.S. Air Force, U Assessment Unit,
Hey,
Assessment Unit.
you just keep adding
Yes.
those.
Crisis Management Unit, Investigative Support for Operation Gray Sunset, Jordan.
Correct.
Crisis Management Unit, Investigative Support Unit, Critical Incident Response in Montreal, Quebec.
Yes.
FBI, National Center for Analysis of Violent Crime, Operation New Hope.
Yes.
Bureau of Criminal Investigation, that's BCI, for the Department of the State Police. Would that be Virginia?
Yes.
You also have an interest in and have studied or written about various topics in your career, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Hostage negotiations course, Crisis Management Unit. You were involved with that, is that correct?
Correct.
That was a number of years ago, though. I guess that was like 1996.
That's right.
You've been involved with the FBI for a long time, right?
Yes.
Fair to say that you're a government man?
Sustained.
Red.
Hostage negotiation course. How about Virginia Department of State
Okay,
Police?
bias.
Involved with them as well, sir?
So
Yes.
just, yeah.
Yes.
Advisory positions.
I
You deal
think
with
I
Islam
have to
in
make
prison.
another point.
It's one of your interests, right? That was a TV program or something?
Correct.
Talk about
Just like in Red's profession, I think what people are forgetting so quickly on the internet that have no scope on what these professionals have to adhere to. If you are a psychologist, a psychiatrist, all the things that this guy is, if you want to keep your license and keep doing your job and keep, not being completely unable to ever do your job again, you can't just be bought off and work for the government or just, you can't do that. You are very, very highly accountable to certain standards, just like therapists are, psychotherapists, psychiatrists. There's all these bodies above you that people can, make you accountable if you aren't. So, I mean, the line of questioning right now is just quite ridiculous.
Institute for Justice, Standing Committee to advise the Department of State on unexplained health effects on U.S. government employees and their families overseas, right?
Yes.
Analysis of pre-attack behaviors of
the
the Las Vegas shooter behavioral analysis unit for the FBI.
Yes.
Skipping ahead, papers published. Now, when a doctor or a psychiatrist, or any doctor really, I guess, publishes a paper that's of interest to other doctors or people, that's called a learned treatise, right? Peer review?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me, what is peer review? What does that mean when you're dealing with a person's focus and interest in writing about what they're focused on?
So a peer review journal is one in which once an article is submitted, a paper for publication, that goes to qualified people within the same field who review it and make determinations about
That just makes him even more credible at what he's doing.
the quality and whether or not it should be published. Oftentimes, there will be some edits or suggested edits from those who have expertise. It's a blind process. So if I submit a paper and it's peer reviewed, I don't know necessarily at all who is reviewing it. There's a way to ensure quality of articles that are published. And that's just an important standard.
So it's kind of a rigorous standard to make sure that what you're writing about is reliable and will be helpful to others that are interested in it. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, for example, also it depends on where you're publishing it. You can put something in the National Enquirer, or you can put it in International Psychiatric something or other, right? Which would be a better
I don't think the
publication.
Enquirer is peer reviewed, but
So you certainly would agree with me that the International Journal of Law and Psychiatry is a respected source for learned treatises, right?
yes.
And you would agree with me, sir, that you've been in here telling this jury all about Lindsay and how she didn't hear voices or did hear voices or exaggerated and lied. Have you written any articles at all on the concept of auditory hallucinations?
No.
Have you read any of them?
Read any articles? Yes.
Yeah, okay. You certainly have heard of Dr. Philip Resnick, yes?
Yes.
And it's fair to say, tell me if I'm wrong, is he literally a world-known authority in your field for filicide or the killing of children by their parents?
Yes. He's well known.
And is he also well-written as far as auditory hallucinations?
Resnick is well known, but that doesn't mean this guy's opinion is crap.
And he published an article
Far
in the
from.
International Journal of Law and Psychiatry, which is considered to be, if you know, a landmark article about, and I captioned, listening to voices, the use of phenomenology to differentiate malingered from genuine auditory verbal
Yeah, but Resnick is not on the stand right now. This guy is, and he has probably more diverse experience, which makes him even more unbiased.
hallucinations. Now, did you read that article?
Yes.
So it is a peer-reviewed article published in a recognized journal, correct?
Correct.
Your Honor, I would offer this under Commonwealth versus Sneed for the jury, if they wish.
Councilor Garcia, sidebar.
Okay, so another sidebar. I think Red is, he's made a lot of credible points along the way, but I just think his demeanor is really off-putting. I don't know how the jury is reacting to this because we're not in the courtroom, but I don't know about anybody else, but I'm ready for this trial to be over and for it to be put into the jury's hands. I think that they have a very difficult job to do. I think that it's a very important case. It is a lot of people are watching. A lot of people are majorly triggered by this case. And I think it makes sense. Mental health is a huge concern, and everyone has the right to have their feelings about the case. But I think we also have to be aware that we're not projecting our own experiences of mental health onto this defendant, because that's not appropriate. I mean, everyone has the right to be, but I mean, the reports of people, maybe, and it sounds to me, I was watching an interview yesterday saying that the person that was, one of the people that was coordinating the pink shirts said, we never planned on cheering when Lindsay arrived to the courtroom. And I'm really glad to hear that, because that was really off-putting for me to hear that someone would be literally cheering a defendant coming in for this type of a trial. That when the coordinator said to the news that, that was not the plan. We were literally just going to stand there in support of women's issues. And I think that I'm glad to hear that. I'm really, really glad to hear that, because
District Attorney, could I continue? Sure.
at the end of the day, it's not about everyone else.
Leaving aside the peer review article and the article written by Dr. Philip Resnick, sir, for a minute, papers that you published, and you have in your resume, it says peer reviewed, so that's just what we're talking about, right?
That's right.
All right. Using the moral situational action model of extremist violence to assess fluctuating levels of risk in women, the relevance of risk promotive and protective factors. What does that mean, levels of risk in women with extremist violence?
We're looking at
That's a loaded
risk assessment in terms of violence and what may be mitigating factors. In other words, decreasing the risk or the threat, or increasing, that would be enhancing factors.
Well, like protective factors means things like family support, therapy along with meds. This is what I've been saying all along, therapy along with meds. Unfortunately, that wasn't pursued enough, I think. I know, trying to find the right med and all that is extremely stressful, but also having therapy, like ongoing therapy alongside that, is crucial. It's so crucial. And of course, in therapy, you can talk about your frustration with medication, but also taking the time to talk about these types of intrusive thoughts that she was having. That would have been the perfect place to do so. And I'm not seeing from the evidence that she did that.
But this is looking at a group in terms of research.
And it's research about women that are involved with.
Even if she didn't want to completely
Yes.
talk about specific thoughts, just, help to manage the anxiety, because obviously a psychiatrist or a nurse practitioner with one of these med chats, which I've said in the past, should be illegal. It's so dangerous to do any type of advising on a med chat. Oh gosh. But she could have maybe gotten some of these really tough feelings out with a therapist to empathize with her, to be like, wow, yeah, you're going through a really
using
hard
the moral
time. There's a lot of
situational action
internal
violence
struggling
risk
going
model
on,
for assessing
and this is
women
really
involved
important
in
that you keep
extremist
talking to me
violence
about
and
this,
empirical study. Is
so
that
that you don't
similar
feel like you're so
Yes.
alone.
Operationalizing theory, a moral situational action model for
Obviously,
extremist
Patrick
violence. That would
didn't
include guys
know
plus women,
the
I guess, right?
extent.
I'm sorry.
she was
That would
going
include men
through,
plus women, I guess, right? Because it doesn't say women.
which makes sense. I mean, he's
Suicide,
not in
terrorism,
her head.
performance of violence as a public plunge. You wrote
He
that,
doesn't
right?
know.
Correct.
It's another interest. Crisis
Doesn't know
leadership and
all that
military
she's
community
internally
resilience.
struggling
You
with.
wrote that, right?
Correct.
Painting by numbers, capturing the pathology of socio-political conflict, dealing with depression amongst Palestinians. You wrote that, right?
Correct.
Psychological challenges of bioterror. You wrote that, right?
Correct.
Trauma and intergenerations transmissions in Kuwait. You wrote that, right?
Yes.
Recognizing borderline personality disorder in the family practice setting. You wrote that, right?
That's right.
Okay, I will be back
Mortality
with some
among
more
elderly
reactions.
patients
Don't
discharged
calm
from a
down,
state
because the
hospital.
world
One
needs
of your
to
interests,
take
right?
care of
That's right.
yourselves. This is a heavy hit.
Postpartum
Bye-bye.
psychosis induced by bromocriptine. That's the one that you told the jury about